We have the poets Giovanni Singleton and Aaron Coonan here tonight. The music duo Squash and Biscuit. You heard them playing an ambient set earlier. They'll play another set later on. And we also have some short films by Yan Benzao, Christina Seed-Gwyn, and Edgar Jorge Baralt, and Ali Vanderkroik and Tatum Howie. So it's really bringing together a bunch of different media all in one space. There's a long history of that at Beyond Baroque. We are very much a center devoted to poetry and literature, but we've always taken a very expansive view of the literary arts. A lot of our programming over the years has encompassed performance art, sound art, all kinds of music, film as well. And so we're very much excited to be bringing that back to this space. Before we do get started, though, I did want to say a few more words. I'd like to begin by acknowledging our presence here on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielina Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent dispossession of their land. And as an arts organization, Beyond Baroque is committed to uplifting indigenous writers and communities. Just to tell you about a few programs that we have coming up. We have our regular, one of the things we do here is we offer writing workshops. And so every Monday we have a fiction workshop, and every Wednesday we have a poetry workshop. Those are both currently online. A huge swath of LA's better known poets and writers have come through those workshops over the years. Folks ranging from Wanda Coleman and Amy Gersler all the way down to Amanda Gorman most recently. We have some master classes as well. Douglas Manuel is teaching a class here on February 11th. And the poet Julia Guess is teaching one on February 18th. We're very excited about both of those. And we have some readings coming up. We have next weekend, Kaya Press is teaming up with us to present Jenny Liu and Patrick Coleman. Meanwhile, we have on Saturday, our friends at Arendt Press are putting together a little zine fest. They're with us tonight. It's a book launch as well. So we're excited about that program. And then the following week, we had the book launch for Cynthia Dewey Oka. We'll also have Vanessa and Angelica Villarreal here for that, Kian Lam, and quite a few other poets. So do come back for those. Check out our website, and hope to see all of you again soon. One last final thing I'd like to say is all this programming, which we are trying to keep free, it does cost some money to run, to operate this space. So if you're not a Beyond Baroque member, please do consider becoming a member. It costs as little as $60 for an individual membership. $80 is a dual membership. Helps keep this programming free. If we do happen to charge, if you're a member, you will continue to get in free to events. So if you would like to become a member, please see Genesis in the bookstore, and they can help you out. I think that's about it for the Beyond Baroque spiel. I just want to say thank you to all the artists involved in this, all of our staff, and the curators as well. This is sort of a joint effort with a large group of curators. And the person I would like to thank above all is Daniel Tiffany, who is really the brains behind this and the vision. He's someone I've been talking to for years, and I was just really thrilled when we decided that we wanted to work together on a new series in this space. And so Daniel's going to say a few more words about the series, about the artists, about the curators, but please welcome Daniel Tiffany, and thank you all so much for coming.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. And as you can tell from Quentin's just description of the lineup coming up, great things are happening at Beyond Baroque these days. In part due to his guidance. So I just wanted to say, you've been listening to Brian Griffith and Xuan Zhao, the Squash and Biscuit, and maybe we could give them another hand. It was really wonderful. And I did have a shave out there with Ben Veloz, but if you didn't manage to get a slot, he's right down the street at the world-famous Venice Barbershop, right on Windward Circle, and it's a really cool little tiny shoebox of a space. So, and I also, in addition to Quentin, I wanted to thank Jimmy Vega and Yvonne Salinas who have, all been working like crazy for this event. It's really been quite an effort. And I just wanted to shout out as well to Eric and Dan in the booth, our tech people, who've been working with everybody. So The Haircut is a new constellation of standby events and multimedia sessions at Beyond Baroque, coaxing poetry and textual practice with or without words into dialogue and conflict with other arts and disciplines. Sound, visual media, rogue scholarship, performance. Shaped by a rolling troupe of resident and guest programmers, the transactions nurtured at The Haircut favor the ill-fated, the hyphenated, the composted, the modified, the distilled, the far-fetched. So we're going to start off tonight with an innovative poetry presentation by Giovanni Singleton, who has recently moved to the Southland, where she now teaches at Cal State LA. And we want to give her a very warm welcome into the community of poets in Los Angeles. So we welcome you, Giovanni. And we have a special treat tonight. Laurie Shire, who is a renowned scholar and anthologist of African American poetry, will introduce Giovanni briefly. Laurie's books include, among many others, Slave Songs and the Birth of African American Poetry, A History of African American Poetry, and the recent anthology, What I Say, Innovative Poetry by Black Writers in America. Please welcome Laurie and Giovanni.
Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Daniel. I think this is exactly what LA needs. We didn't necessarily know we needed it, but I think The Haircut is right on time and the right thing. So congratulations and thank you so much for bringing this to us. I know we've got great things ahead. It really is my honor to give a brief introduction to Giovanni Singleton, although you'll know her far better when she presents her work momentarily. In the last stages of completing her PhD, Giovanni brings deep historical knowledge and technical sophistication to her poetic practice. We see it in her curatorial and editorial skills in such activities as the famed Lunchtime Lecture Series and serving as Holloway Lecturer in Poetry at Berkeley, winning the California Book Award Gold for Poetry, receiving the prestigious Stephen E. Henderson Award from the African American Literature and Culture Society, presenting her visual work at the Smithsonian's American Jazz Museum and University of Tucson's Poetry Center, and through her historically important literary magazine, Nocturne Review of the Literary Arts. Her unique combination of poems and conceptualized art includes the books Ascension and American Letters Works on Paper, which is for sale in the bookstore. Down with the Blues, Up with KG and Mesostics, Giovanni's work has always followed an independent path that's also in dialogue with important aesthetic mentors such as Lucille Clifton and Alice Coltrane. We're incredibly fortunate, as Daniel mentioned, to welcome her to our family of Angelinos as she begins a new appointment this month as Professor of Creative Writing at Cal State LA, where she'll also serve as faculty advisor to the award-winning literary magazine, Statement. Please join me in a wildly warm Los Angeles Haircut and Beyond Baroque welcome to Giovanni Singleton.
Wow, thank you so much. Delighted to be here this evening, and also, I don't know, it's just everyone's been so kind, and especially with tech stuff, it's a very treacherous ledge that we walk with this stuff, and I hope it works. But I'm very happy to be here, and this is, in fact, my very first reading here since arriving. So I'm very, very excited to be also back in the Golden State. So this evening, I'd like to read selections from American Letters, works on paper, and then end with a very short, I guess it's a poetry video, or video poem, or a mess. Okay. I think. So I came 2 hours early to make sure this thing works? No, an hour early? Wake up, screen! Wake up! I'm supposed to do something here. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is the cover, the beginning. I'm just going to read through the first thing here. I'm not sure if you're able to see it. This is a Masastic for Alice Coltrane. Vedantic temple prayers and tambourines and hallelujah claps for Krishna, Ganesh, Shiva. Turiya's scripture, a journey in Satchidananda. Beloved John's stained glass face, churched and gospel harp. Lord of Lords, Detroit ministry, pours from Swami's Wurlitzer. Her ashram was in Woodland Hills, so I'm getting acclimated. And this is Masastic for James Baldwin. It's unpublished. Justice includes what may be lurking outside, around the corner. Say believe, say not allowed enough blue, dances inside whatever thundering tide washes over now. This is, I did an homage to Cage, Charlie Bird Parker, the Birds, Bird, Juju Bird, Drum Bird, Charlie Bird, Parker, I'm for the birds, not the cages people put them in. Bird, John, Bird, Cage, John, Conference of the Birds. Bird, gets the worm. Bird, sheltering sky. Bird, say, bird, fly, bird, land. Bird, song, fine and dandy. Bird, sky, sheltering bird, all the things you are. Bird, east of the sun, start again. Bird, Parker, Bird, Charlie, Bird, Parker, come together. Birds, uptown, Stellar J, bird wings, spread. Bird, red bird, feathers, bird, oobop shabam. Bird, breathe, bird, B-I-R-D, ornithology. I'm for the birds, not the cages, not the cages we put them in. Bird, not the cages we are in. Feed, bird, fly, bird, free, bird, live, bird, live, bird, away, bird, bye, black bird, breathe. And this is what I've just read. That's the score, as it were. So I'm always trying to keep score, play the score. Outside is enough to touch and be free. The farthest edges of human speech and wilderness unfurl from ruffled sleep, with plans for positioning, laundered lives on display, attendant in open-air prayer, so nothing suppresses belief or declaration of war or tongues cloaked in broken rot. To meet, meaning some form of we are not biodegradable as advisable. How many inscriptions and names come to believe, nouns come to believe only themselves. And I have, on occasion, needed to scream. Such moments are surrounding me right now. This piece is inspired by, I'm not sure if you've heard of the artist Alvin Lucier, I Am Sitting in a Room. It's a classic. So I'll play a little bit of this. I am screaming a clock in 1 second. I am screaming a person in 2 seconds. I am screaming a clock and I am screaming. I am screaming 4 o'clock. I am screaming second. I am screaming. I am screaming. I am screaming at 6 and I curse. So I am dreaming at 7 of screaming. I am screaming at 8 seconds. I am screaming. I am screaming at 9 seconds right now. 10 I am screaming at 10. I am screaming. 11 I am screaming at 12 seconds right now. 12 I am screaming at 12 seconds. I am screaming. Can you hear me? I am screaming. 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 Person. I am screaming. 1 o'clock. I am screaming 1 second. I am screaming in 2 seconds. I am screaming 3 o'clock and I am screaming. Persona. 4 o'clock. I am screaming 4 seconds. Can you hear me? 5 o'clock. I am screaming 5 seconds. Loudly. I am screaming at 6 seconds. Hear me. I am screaming. I am 6 seconds. I am screaming 8 o'clock. I am screaming seconds. I am screaming 9 o'clock right now. At 9 can you hear me? I am screaming. Can you hear me? Seconds. I am screaming. 11 o'clock. I am screaming. 11 I am screaming. Person. 12 o'clock. I am screaming. 12 seconds. I am screaming. I am dreaming of screaming. I am screaming. I am screaming. Can you hear me? I am screaming. 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 I am dreaming of screaming. I am screaming. 1 o'clock. I am screaming. 2 o'clock. In 2 seconds. I am screaming. 3 o'clock. I am 2 seconds. Person. I am screaming. 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 In 6 seconds. I am screaming. 7 o'clock. 5 and 7 seconds. 8 o'clock. Outside is enough to touch and be free. No fear, be free. Say, outside is enough to touch here. You be free outside and alive and brown and alive and black and in between and alive, no fear. Outside and human and being here, you well and outside truly free and better alive are margin to margin. Amen. This is Sonnet to the 14th Power. Was invited to send something to Poem a Day. You know, they're kind of strict over there. They used to be, and you know, kind of a little bit traditional. They're stretching out somewhat, I said, okay, this is going to be my version of a sonnet. How can they reject it? So then they were like, well, how can it be read or whatever? I also have Sonnet to the 14th Power postcards if you'd like one. See me after. So this is what I turned in, as I say, assignment. Are you trying to get
Sonnet to the 14th power. 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 Sonnet to the 14th power.
So it goes on for about 14 seconds. So I had to explain that, talk about that, you know. I said, theorize. Be a double or a crown of sonnet to the 14 powers. Okay, and then I will end with this in the reading portion, and then I'm going to show a really short film. This is called Last Cucumber from the Garden, in conversation with Julie Ezell Patton. And it's my way of addressing my mathematical challenge. So if the square root of tomorrow minus the square root of yesterday equals now, and maybe if silence divided by the square root of voice equals holla to the 7.7 billionth power, then perhaps stillness to the x power plus birds in flight to the xy power equals joy to the infinite power. Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the dirt, the whole dirt, and nothing but the dirt, so help you clean? Day 39, a Monday. Black girl, you a black girl. Black girl, play on blacktop, play. Girl, black, you a black girl. Jump down, turn around. Black girl, sing pretty song. You a black girl. Play on, merry-go-round. You black girl. Look, merry-go-mad. You black, you girl. Smile. Yes, smile. Show those pearly whites. Stop playing in that dirt and get in this house right now. You hear me? Gonna walk down that dirt road till someone will let me ride. Take your shoes off. Don't be bringing no dirt in this house. I just now cleaned up in here. A dirty floor be a world of hurt. Dirt bag, do someone dirty. Throw enough dirt and some will come back. A relative been looking for work. Picked up a few night shifts cleaning one of those knobs. NOB, nice office buildings downtown. Pay dirt, air dirty laundry, a washing board, 10 ways to get white clothes whiter, ironing board. Ever make a mud pie? Ever taste one? Rapunzel's hair clean, wash and rinse DIY. Cinderella on her feet, corns or calloused, drags through the dirt. Snow White, a dirty apple's delight. Sleeping Beauty, Alice's land, dirtful wonder. Dig some dirt, Prince Charming. Do some dirt, knight in shining armor. Dirt poor, committed body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. As common as dirt, corn, tomatoes, potatoes, peas, greens, spring up crops to fill the pots, dish the dirt. Black ants abandon their anthills, places we should be or have been erased from. Everyone is using the same pair of scissors for tongues. Dirty mouth, dirty movie, a low-down dirty dog admired another dog's bravery. Her coat of white fur, how she fiercely protected it as it protected her. Most of the time, she was quiet, but sometimes she growled. She wouldn't let anybody pee on her fur because she never wanted to be soiled, to be dirty, as everything else was dirty. But cleanliness was not good either. Anything clean was always at risk of becoming dirty. To alleviate stress, she let her paws be dirty sometimes. Shh. Her friend, though, often behaved like a low-down dirty dog. Although well-groomed himself, he was always wanting to spray her pristine white fur with his urine. Maybe on a day when her fur is especially clean, she'll imagine letting him, dirty mind, dirty old man's dirty look, do a little dance, the dirt devil says. Shake it, baby. Come on, shake it for me. Talk dirty to me, dirt bag. Be lower than dirt. Old dirty bastard, said the neighbor. Dirty old bastard. Handed down a dirty deal. A law outlawing chickens from producing oval-shaped eggs has recently been made into law. Eggs must now be cube-shaped and brown. Any chicken found producing oval-shaped eggs will be sent down and fried. No appeals will be heard. And that is that. Roll or play dirt ball. Or if you like, ride a dirt bike. Don't mind playing dirty pool or looking past a ring around the tub. Life is time, and time gets your hands dirty. Real filthy now, the warning signs say. Wash 'em clean now. 20 times if you want life. Hey, keep off my nice, pretty raked, clean, leafless lawn. Nice, pretty flowers. Mind and keep your droplets to yourself. And pick up after your dog, cat, bird, turtle, gerbil. End the stress and worry. No need to worry about dirt. No need at all. It's all covered. Look, you smell that? Rain's coming.
Well, that was definitely joy divided by infinity squared, I have to say. And, you know, that last piece, which was just so wonderful, it made me think of a couple of things. One, that prosody, you know, the science of rhythm and poetry, that word proshodos, the Greek word means on the road, you know, walking. And also just Mary Douglas's great book, Purity and Danger, where she talks about dirt as matter out of place. It's a great book, Purity and Danger. Thank you, Giovanni. That was a joy. Thank you so much. So we're going to shift gears now and turn our attention to a set of short films selected by Nehal Vyas and Gavati Wad, who are doing the visual programming for The Haircut at the moment. And they're not here at the moment. They're not yet back from India. They're curating and finishing up a festival they've been doing over there. But together, Nehal and Gavati run the Artists in Revolution Collective, focusing on developing an understanding of socio-political conditions across the globe through screenings and discussions. So, since they're not here at the moment, though they are in spirit and through their collections, I'll read the program, a short note they wrote for the program, which they call Hope This Finds You Well. Notes scribbled on grocery bills, surprises left on the kitchen countertop for a loved one, ID cards shoved in wallets alongside fortune cookie notes, secret hand gestures shared across the room, and the signature intonations of someone's voice on the other side of the phone. Is this how we are remembered and rediscovered? The films in Hope This Finds You Well look at how objects and languages, tangible or otherwise, become vessels of one's many identities, private, personal, communal, and national. So, the films that Nehal and Gavati have curated for us tonight are Let Me Tell You a Secret, 2022, by Yanbin Zhao, Becoming American, 2016, by Christina C. Wen and Edgar Jorge Baralt, and Life Objects, 2023, by Ali Vanderkrook and Tatum Howie. Here we go.
cluster of 35mm Kodachrome slides, 1 Royal Canadian Air Force t-shirt, 1 lime green Patagonia jacket, 2 aviation protractors,
four button-up shirts, size extra large, 1 t-shirt from University of
1
Business.
blue Le Creuset
That
duck
makes no
button,
sense.
1 Ticon one,
1 Triumph
1
motorcycle
box of
and
used
matching
coffee
coffee
bean
mug.
bags,
1 piggy
1
bank
circular
in the shape
saw,
of a barrel
5
with a Dutch windmill
bicycles,
painted on the side.
2 toboggans,
1 gag whistle.
1 box of vinyl,
1 hard hat
a
that
pair of
was his father's.
snowshoes,
1 replica
climbing
of a
rope,
World War I cannon.
6 backpacking bags,
8 VHS
4
tapes.
boxes of children's toys. One Forerunner, 8 pairs of skis, 1 gold pen, 1 box of crystal, 6 porcelain figurines, 2 Ansel Adams photographs, 1 Olympus point-and-shoot camera,
1 document describing how poorly administered CPR caused him to be without oxygen for 6 minutes, resulting in irreparable brain damage. 1 used paperback book describing the design and fragility of the heart. 100 feet of clear leader with press-on letters. One CPR dummy, 1 iPhone.
You arrive on the scene. Check the scene for safety. Check the victim for consciousness. Gently tap your shoulder and shout. Are you okay? Are you okay? If no response, call 911 immediately. Call 911. If the adult is lying on their stomach, turn them over into their back. They should be lying on a hard, flat surface. Check for breathing and signs of life. Watch their chest for any normal movement. Look for signs of life and breathing for no more than 10 seconds. No breathing or signs of life, begin CPR. Position the heel of one hand on the center of the adult's chest. Place your other hand on top. With your elbows locked and arms straight, lean over the adult's chest and compress the chest 2 inches in depth, 30 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Beer is gone.
Mustache
What do we have left, Allie? What do you think? Let's see if I get him some more snuggles. No, still no more snuggles. I gotta cut the mustache off. Can I have a happy kiss because I have half a mustache? Happy kiss. No. Please. No. I got one. I got one. It worked. How about you? Oh, just on the side. Mama. Mama mia. Oh, Mama mia.
One green cutting mat, 1 mirror, 1 pane of glass, 2 2 pieces of styrofoam, 1 poem.
Right. And it happens every day when some passerby invites your eye to come her way. Even as she smiles a quick hello, you let her go, you let the moment fly. Too late you turn your head, you know you said a long goodbye.
So let me just repeat the names of the film once more. I thought that would be helpful. So the first film was called Let Me Tell You a Secret by Yanbin Zhao. The second film was called Becoming American by Christina C. Wen and Edgar Jorge Baralt. And the last film was called Life Objects by Ali Vandercook and Tatum Howie. Are any of the filmmakers here? We thought we had rumors that, no? So, but anyway, this is being recorded, I think, on the Beyond Baroque YouTube channel. So maybe we could just give just a shout out to Nahal and Gavati for programming this. If we can just thank you. So, our next segment. I'm really thrilled now to introduce our next artist, the poet, theorist, and experimentalist Aaron Kunin, one of the most original authors writing in English today. His work is intense, intimate, speculative, concise, and truly alarming at moments. He's the author of 3 books of poetry, Folding Ruler Star, The Sore Throat and Other Poems, and Cold Genius, along with the novel The Mandarin, all from Fence Books. He's also the author of Grace Period, Notebooks from Letter Machine Press, along with several books of innovative scholarship, including Character as Form from Bloomsbury in 2019. His work as a scholar focuses on the early modern period, and his critical books exhibit the same daring intelligence one associates with his other writings. And some of his scholarly writing, Love 3, for example, from Wave Books, which we'll hear from tonight, fuses textual analysis with moments of naked personal confession and dazzling aphorism. Let me share with you finally what his friend and admirer Ben Lerner says about Aaron's writing. Aaron Kunin keeps me honest. His reading, the extremity of his intelligence, the radical rigor and weird humor of his poetry and prose. His learnedness is almost anachronistic, and yet I feel like he might, except for his lack of cynicism, be my most contemporary. I look up to him. It occurs to me often to be grateful for his work. Please welcome Aaron Kunin.
First, Mother made me by removing her luminous beauty from one area of her body, earth, where her foot fell, cooled and hardened around the dent, impression left by a fingernail in the skin of an apple. I never grew, but more and more of the beauties she had in me dwindled, teeth seeming to lengthen, showing their roots as the gums recede. Just a piece of mother, with all her treasures kept back. On my tongue, the edge of an unpleasant flavor that I instinctively knew to be death. A proud and overprotective parent of the one thing she had invented. She rather enjoyed seeing her blood go about in a different shape. My sweet mother. Proud of all that I kept hidden, deeply moved, or merely chewing, I learned early to hear the sound of coughing with unconcern, merely a cut through which you may see a short distance into her face, and that's her mouth, uniformly silver, a cold color, in hair, green eyes blanched gray, where I learned to seek happiness in a woman's glance. She burned through the earth when she divided her store of beauties from her substance. The remainder froze, and she froze the remover, as alike as one of the halves of an apple to the other. Could two faces make a third face by friction of one mouth against another? Could one face split into two copies of itself, and I, their mirror, now told apart by temperature, or the notch in the ear, or just by pointing of luminous beauty, her defining feature absent from your composition, a seemingly casual mention. I looked up from a fiery outline, her face held warring energies in check, sovereign and ecstatic. I would have enjoyed saying that my forehead was hotter than her iron, but truthfully, I guess, it wasn't, since the brand left a visible scar. I love women. Girl and reptile made a gesture as if to tantalize her with the money, as if the girl was not going to take it immediately, it should be kept just out of her reach, and girl made a gesture as if polishing the spectacles on her thigh, as if, since she wanted his sight to be directed downwards, his gaze, the direction of his face, was in the way. Girl and reptile, and girl turns toward the accident with an expectant look, as if it had been a deliberate attempt to gain her attention, her tongue wiping the shredded inside of her cheek. And would you eat the apple? Again, she finds herself on the phone, yelling at a stranger, I would peel and core the apple. Yes, little brother, her face contorted, and her tongue pressing against her cheek caused it to bulge. You shall have an apple too. Colorful inside of the mouth is the first zone. Freestanding hair is the second zone. A mask of phone and coffee is the third zone that you are forced to correspond with. The fourth zone is the almost complete absence of demands for reassurance in your speech. The fifth zone is the shining mass behind the eyes. Point of a building's shadow enters you, Ferdinand Lopez. Are you carrying anything that will set off the alarm? At Tenway Junction, the security guard sees that you have no destination. Through a cloud choking the sky's mouth, Minos, smashed into bloody atoms, his face said, "Get back on the train." A mask of phone and coffee, but it's the lowest part of the head that suffers the taste of your own mask. Would disgust strangers approaching, making scissoring gestures. What are the limits of division? In Baltimore, by the shape of the Safeway, divisible by 5, the front end of the brain receives light. Sleep, secure with our surveillance ball, glazed in silver lightning at the lecture hall on a golden chain, the absent pencil, the one instrument I never use, one should always fly at half-mast in words of one syllable, oh, but one of the words was tender, like a bruise. Dear diary, there's one thing I love. Much as a single shining hair driven through the skin, how can you call it a knife or stuck to the roof of a mouth or of a building? A lock of your hair catches the window as you enter, or your hair, shining mass of as a totality, or totality itself. Aaron, I got the keys. Buzz up. This is a traditional story. I did not invent this. When we go to hell, as it's called, there is very much work that must be done there, they say. One transports firewood every night. When they go to get firewood, they go changed into horses. When they go and bring firewood, it is every night they go and bring firewood. It is not genuine firewood, however. In hell, bones are believed to be firewood. They burn the bones. All of them, however many there are in hell, all burn bones as firewood for their fires. That is why they get driven each night by Saint Peter to carry the bones. They are transformed for the purpose of carrying wood into horses. They go carrying their box loads like horses do. When they go single file like horses. They just go single file then, just like ants or mules. They go in column formation. When they come back carrying their firewood or bones, that's just the way they do it. That is why hell is called burning bones. It's because long ago, one man saw what hell was like. When he went and saw, it was because the man's wife had died. It was because he really loved his wife. Every day he cried after she died. He hardly slept for thinking about his wife. Thus, he went to search for his wife in earnest. He went to look inside hell. There he arrived and found his wife. The road to hell has a large sinkhole there in the middle of it. We can't jump over it because it is too big. It is really very big. When we do manage to cross over it, then, it is because a sheep carries us across on its back. The man was carried across by a sheep. Thus, he arrived to talk to his wife. "I've come to see you," he told his wife. "You have come indeed. What do you want?" "You haven't been called yet," she told the man. "It's because I really love you," said the man. "Oh, you can sleep one night then," said the woman. He was given his meal by his wife. "Do you want to eat tortillas?" said the woman. "Yes, indeed," said the man. "Do you want to eat beans?" she said to the man. When he was given the beans, he saw they weren't genuine beans. In hell, little flies are believed to be beans. They are the kind of flies that emerge from cracks in the soil. They eat these flies in hell. They are thought to be beans by the inhabitants of hell. When they had finished eating, they began to roll out their beds. "You'll sleep apart from me," said the woman. "No, indeed, I won't," said the man. "I'll sleep with you for certain," said the man. "I really think longingly about you," said the man. "You can't sleep with me," said the woman. Thus the man slept apart from his wife. The man watched his wife sleeping. He waited until his wife was deep in sleep. He waited to get up and make love. "I'm going to go and give her some loving," said the man to himself. He went and fondled his wife until he realized he was fondling just bones. It was just bones in a heap where he touched her. Thus he returned to his bed. Thus it was. The man came to see his wife and stayed one night. "You must go back to our house on earth," she said to the man who was her husband. "You will go see our children," he was told by his wife. "You won't be gone for long," he was told by his wife. "You're going to go back to earth to live for 8 years, she said to him. She didn't mean real years, however. He came back to earth for 8 little days only. He only came back home to leave recounted to other people what he had seen in hell. He left everything told. Thus I have said a few words about it. The sore throat. I'm inventing a machine for concealing my desire. And I'm inventing another machine for concealing the machine. It's a 2-machine system, and it sounded like laughter. And I'm inventing a machine for concealing the sound. You, to me, why are you concealing the beauty of your machine? Every machine has more beauty than the last, for everything whose purpose is to conceal seems to change in the end into a sign of what it's concealing. And now the sound that once sounded like laughter is so loud that it seems more like sobbing, or laughter concealing sobbing. All my inventing is a complete disaster. It's not concealing my desire. It's talking about my desire to conceal my desire, like a voice on a message machine that would say, "Hello, about desire, I'd like to say a word or two. It's not your eyes. It's not the word you say. It's not your complaining voice that I desire. All I desire is your applause." It's hard not to hear what the message is saying. Also, it's hard to keep myself from inventing another machine to keep from hearing it. So invent a machine for disinventing. This will be the last machine I ever invent, and its purpose will just be to change every machine into shit. No more inventing for me. What a shame. It once was a wonder of a machine. Now it's more like a disaster. I think he left a message. You're wrong. He just left a mess. Beauty asks Herbert, "Whose hands are these?" Beauty is an interesting kind of unfairness. It isn't fair to me that all the world's beauty is concentrated in you. It isn't fair to you that I am able to enjoy the visual effect of the world's beauty. You can't see it because you live inside it. Your beauty draws me to you and delivers my body, represented by my hands, to you. Herbert's loyalty does not belong to the visible power that commandeers his hands, but rather to the unseen power that commandeers his voice. His answer is to defer the answer to the voice of the unseen power who never speaks in the poem. But thou shalt answer, Lord, for me. In no society do people talk all the time. Richard Bauman makes this simple, profound observation in an anthropological study of the speech behavior of 17th century Quakers. What makes Quakers a fascinating case study is the unique value they discover in silence. Their practice of silent group meditation, irregularly punctured by openings, speeches that occur when a member of the congregation is inspired to assume the role of minister, is supported by a theology that understands silence as communication with God, speech as communication with the world. However, Bauman continues, although Quakers rate silence higher than speech, they are not silent all the time. Just as people in societies that prefer speech to silence do not talk all the time. Quakers rely on speech to communicate with fellow believers and convert non-believers to Quakerism. Speech diminishes the communication that occurs in silence, but it is an inevitable practical concession to the church's evangelical work. When Voltaire met the Quaker Andrew Pitt, he was unnerved by Pitt's silence and by the plainness of the few words Pitt spoke. Voltaire was chagrined to discover how many of his own words were either compliments or oaths. The Quaker's muted speech seemed to impel the philosopher to appeal vainly to God, and to recite extravagant compliments to fill the silent spaces in their exchange. In Earl Morris's interview with Donald Rumsfeld, many viewers want to see a confrontation. Rumsfeld's deceptions should be exposed. He should be forced to admit his guilty actions, Rumsfeldian actions, which not even their ostensibly positive outcomes could justify, or he should defend them, fail, and be reduced to silence. It's easy to see how, in an encounter with a sheet of paper, a sharp pair of scissors would make a cut, and in repeated encounters go on cutting until the bits of paper were too small to be divided further. It's just as easy to see how a hard rock would blunt, mangle, and crush the scissors. The power of paper to cover rock is more mysterious. You might assume rock would defeat paper. Weighty and jagged, the rock would tear the paper's surface, but this isn't so. If the paper were a document covered with writing, its threat of coverage could be understood as a power of representation, to render the image of the rock in a different medium. That doesn't seem right to me. The point, I believe, is paper creates a boundary. Its power is to frame the rock, to determine how it is going to be framed, to display or obscure it. Paper covers rock. In this rule, a profound idea that everyone knows. Rumsfeld has the same idea. Talk is a contest in which the prize is to take everything, give nothing. How deep can this attitude go? For him, withholding information is a way of life. His is a luminous intellect resolved not to turn the sword of its own wit on itself, not to cut itself on its own sharpness, thus not to examine itself. Finally, in Morris's view, this attitude causes the greatest possible injury. Rumsfeld's wits become dull. He is so advanced a practitioner of the techniques of dullness that he can no longer be considered an intelligent creature. I see a different, happier story. Is there not something incoherent in the very idea of self-deception? You're deceiving yourself. You're fooling yourself. Doesn't that sound unlikely? If one part of the intellect is fooled by another controlling part, then the controlling part should stay intact and undeceived. Can I keep my wits together without ever using them on myself? Yes. One can't, after all, dull the wits entirely. They still operate in sudden flashes and lunges. There are no strings on me. With my bloody hands, I have accomplished one thing today. Full of curious knowledge, with my trembling hands, with my unshapely writing, I have learned that it grows stronger when I do nothing to support it. The first possibility is a quotation. The second possibility is another quotation. The third possibility is a cliché. The language sets as the blood in a bruise sets, so that it cries out at a touch and gives less. You are awake at 7:30 and going to work before 9. There must be some strings on you. With my bloody hands, I maintain my good luck by giving 50 cents to anyone who asks for $1. Half of what you want, I give with my trembling hands. I never complain about my curfew. I always go straight to bed with my unshapely writing. One of the coins in your pocket was an insect, because you don't want your means for making fire to explode suddenly in your pocket. Next year, let it lapse with the greatest pleasure. I don't make tools with my bloody hands. I have never made a tool with my trembling hands. No one in my social circle has ever made a tool. Marks weakly pressed into a surface. There are no strengths, only tools seeking to exploit slight or pretended advantages. I'm Chiquita Banana. My name is taken from the shop where I was made. I have a lot of words in my head that I don't say. I love the warmth of the candle, and I also enjoy its light. Of course, I sometimes do misspeak the meaningful words in my head. If I should let my voice go, what obscenities I might utter. We can never entirely sleep, and sex, as everyone knows, is mostly dormant. The library is a sexy place, since the books on the shelves are mostly dormant. Being a poet means that I am not constrained to make sex from my own obdurate flesh alone. I also have opportunities to make sex out of words and concepts. Therefore, as a poet, even I might be considered sexy. The ingredients of my being are words and flesh mostly. Everyone has the same flesh, only the words are different. A recovered name suddenly floods the memory, taken from the shop where I was made. I once gave someone a dictionary. Thank you.
Thanks for being so strict, Aaron, about things. And to close out this evening, we're fortunate enough to have another short set from Shu-Wen Zhao and Brian Griffith, the musicians of Squash and Biscuit. And I just also wanted to give a shout to Andrew Choate, who's here tonight. Andrew, an artist and writer who's long been programming some of the most innovative music in Los Angeles through the Unwrinkled Ear. And we're very lucky to have him on board with The Haircut. Here's Squash and Biscuit once more.
I